We will entertain one or two quick questions if there's any burning ones. Step up to the microphone if you like. Yep.
So my question is for Professor Maurice Dussault. When it comes to carbon injection technology for waste disposal, what's the feasibility in the context of Canadian provinces?
I'm not sure of the question. Do you mean carbon dioxide sequestration?
Yes, the technology you mentioned. So let's say as a company, can you make money out of it?
Well, I mean, that company is making money out of waste disposal, or if you wish, maybe in the future, biosolids treatment, okay? But currently, in the cap and trade system, there's no recognition of that in these endless rules, okay? Everything is treated with its own rules. What they're doing it for right now is to solve waste disposal problems in the oil industry. That's really what it is. But oil industry is only one industry that generates waste, and the advantage of using injection for biosolids is that you sequester the carbon permanently as a solid, so it can never be liberated. But for the economics of that, then you have to put it on the same basis as other methods of carbon capture. In other words, you have to have a carbon tax credit system that you have access to do that. That doesn't exist in a cap and trade generally. It does exist in some other realizations of carbon tax systems. But I'm not sure I answered your question, but...
No, sure.
But it's like geothermal energy, great stuff, but it's treated totally different than solar or wind,
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Joe.
Great presentations for everyone. Chris, just in terms of, you've got great programs, RNG and the truck fleet, et cetera. In the long-term plan, what technologies are you looking at, just briefly, at the end of the line where there's some waste left that may go into the landfill? And are you just in the examination stage? Have you picked something? If you can just elaborate on that.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I think, so one thing that that Unit for Research, Innovation and Circular Economy will look at is exactly that, which materials actually could still, or are the easiest to remove essentially from the landfill stream. I think preliminarily, textiles is one of them because it's easy to find reuse purposes from them, or as I guess Dr. Young mentioned earlier, the ability just to extend the life cycle or have multiple different life cycles of that product. But to be honest, I'm not the best person to answer that question, but if you're interested, I could put you in touch with somebody that's more involved in the long-term waste management strategy. But from what I understand, it just got approved, so it's kind of just starting, and that's the kind of exactly the stuff that we'll be looking at doing.
Yeah, one last question.
Yeah, hi. So my question is also for Chris. Since I'm doing my thesis on the repair economy, and you mentioned that the City of Toronto is implementing those mobile units and I've seen them because I live in Toronto, so they're mostly for old technologies, right?
Sorry.
When like the little truck comes to, let's say, a church or a community center to pick up garbage, it's mostly for, let's say, old stereos and old, I don't know, electronics.
So not close. I think the mobile units are more seen. They're going to go into underserved communities. So traditionally, what's been happening is the regulatory side has not kept up with kind of development in the City of Toronto. So right now, a big thing is condo developers, of which there's a lot right now, are not actually required to offer green bin or organics material waste management to residents. And so what we're looking at doing is going into those traditionally underserved communities and not necessarily trying to pick a specific item, but more a specific stream. Was that your question?
Because the ones I've seen are mainly for electronics. So let's say if I have an old stereo but many of these things actually can be fixed. And so what can the city do to collect all that, and maybe when they have a large number, provide it to repair shops and help basically communities fundraise or do something to repair those items and not end up in the landfill.
Yeah, if you're talking about specific items, so that's definitely one thing that has been talked about in the long-term waste management strategy, and I think there's kind of two different ones that we're working on. One is working with non-governmental organizations to see if we can get these kind of community days. They're called swap exchanges. So I briefly touched upon the fact doing that with students and furniture.
Yeah.
But absolutely, in terms of the sharing economy, I think tech share is something that's coming up, right? So that would be maybe an example where we would take those old stereos or cameras or phones or whatever it is that right now you can donate at your local Best Buy for nothing, and then they'll take it and kind of reuse the material. But yeah, you could, instead of reusing the material or recycling it, it's that idea of just prolonging its life cycle and having multiple life cycles. And I think funding mechanisms are coming to support that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I'd like to thank the panel once again, if you'll join me.